maybe they were Dad's papers or they pertain to some of his interests. And Mike would like to present some of them and discuss them.
Well, we were looking through the attic, and there was some Caesar and Ruth had given us stuff to store because they didn't have room in their apartment. There were old boxes and it was dusty, and we opened it up, and I found some of these old papers I thought would be very interesting. First, this was something actually that was probably done fairly recently. I can pass it around. It's an organization chart of Samuel D. Freeman, and it shows many of his activities. Samuel D. Freeman Enterprises, and you could just pass this around to show all the various activities he does. But some of these were actually awards that he got, some of the things that happened in his life. As you may know, Sam and Ruth, in the late 30s, I guess it was, went to Puerto Rico, and Sam was teaching English there, and he made many friends, and he went back many years later, and the people remembered him. But I found a paper, actually, they didn't really go down there to teach English. That wasn't the original project, because this is a document that indicates what the real purpose of it was. It says Goya Food Products. It's a traveling fellowship, 1936-37, for Samuel D. Freeman, and it says to promote the use of garbanzos and pinto beans in the indigenous Jewish cuisine of Puerto Rico. So apparently they went down there for that, and it didn't work out. Nobody wanted it, there wasn't much, Jewish cuisine and pinto beans, so Sam had to find a job. Right, Sam had to find a job, so he asked around, and eventually he got a job teaching English and was able to finish the term. Then here's something from 1939. Apparently, I don't know if you're familiar with the story about how Sam once went out to, he had to do an errand for Ruth, and he had to buy some cream cheese. And he used to like to bike a lot. He was a tremendous biker, used to bike up to New England and so forth. Well, he went out one morning to buy cream cheese, and Ruth didn't hear from him. And she was getting worried. She was calling the police. Finally, nobody knew where he was. It turned out that he decided to go to Philadelphia because that's where he went by bike. He biked down to Philadelphia. He stayed in the youth hostel, as I understand. He stayed in the youth hostel. Then he came back the next day, and he came up to the apartment and gave Ruth the cream cheese from Philadelphia. So this is an award. This is a 1937. It's a Consumer Hero Award. It's from the Kraft Food Company. Kraft Food Company is the Philadelphia Cream Cheese Division. 1939 Consumer Hero Award for Samuel D. Freeman. It said the citation is for bicycling from Brooklyn to Philadelphia to buy a package of cream cheese without first telling his wife. Now, here's something from 1975. This took place in New York City.
That's when he came back with the cheese.
No, this is many years later. So, as the years went by, it became more and more difficult to park. Parking in New York, during the 60s and 70s became more and more difficult. And, it was crazy to try to find a parking space. Well, Sam didn't let that bother him, and he just would park wherever. But that led to a lot of tickets. Well, in 1975, apparently, the Division of Motor Vehicles, New York City Violations Bureau, awarded Sam the most highly decorated in 1975. Now, Sam likes to have a drink. When Sam first used to come visit, I'd say, Sam, would you like a little drink? A little this or that. And after a while, I didn't have to ask him, and I just go to the liquor cabinet, have a little drink, and so forth. And this is an award from Seagram's. It says Seagram's Products Lifetime Award, 1988. This is awarded to Samuel D. Freeman, and he's cited for product loyalty, drinking under adverse conditions, and satiation management.
Oh, that's adorable.
I don't know how many of you have been out to eat with Sam in a restaurant.
Oh, yeah. I can attest to that.
If you've been out, I won't explain this, but it's an award from the Waitress Institute of America. It's for the Pest of the Year, 1981. It's for teasing, baiting, and sarcastic remarks.
Also great compliments.
Who's going to dinner with
Then we have some letters. These are all in the files. You know, we found these dusty papers and I cleaned them off and everything. This is a letter. This is a letter from the Electrical Workers of America. Local 14, 309 Broadway, New York, New York. Just to Sam Freeman in Forest Hills. The Electrical Workers, it's written by Stanley Kowalski, who's the second vice president of the Electrical Workers.
Well.
Dear sir, this is to Sam Freeman. Dear sir, it has recently come to our attention that a huge electrified menorah has been constructed by you and erected in front of Temple Isaiah in Forest Hills. You may not have been aware that we have been negotiating with Rabbi Maya Perlmutter for 3 years to be awarded this lucrative contract. Obviously, we now have lost this contract. However, to prove that we are not bitter, may we offer you a free union membership for next year in exchange for a promise not to do any more free work in this community. We would be pleased to confer the singular honor upon you at our next annual potluck electrical dinner dance. Signed, Stanley Kowalski. Then there's another letter that was in the same file. This is from the New York Carpenters Guild. It's local 217, New York, New York, and it's written from Niels Hansen, who's the Secretary-Treasurer of the Carpenters Guild. And this is written to Dear Dr. Freeman, we have received complaints from several of our members about work contracts which were canceled because you volunteered to do the work gratis. During this past year, for example, the names of customers Leibowitz, Huss, Sandeman have come up in this category. These contracts alone accounted for $7,559.23 in lost revenues for our carpenter union members. Therefore, would you please give us the courtesy of not working in the tri-state area? If you persist in this unfair competition, we may have to take legal action. Signed, Niels Hansen, Secretary General. Well, these are okay. Now, this is an award in this connection. This is an award from the Lumberjacks of North America.
Oh, the lumberjack?
Yeah, Lumberjacks of North America, Consumer of the Year, Samuel D. Freeman.
Consumer.
He says, we thank you, this is 1981, we thank you for keeping us employed by your prodigious building of shelves, cabinets, doghouses, benches, chairs, and tables. Now, another little story that this award, this is in Spanish, this award. And this had to do with, some years ago, Ruth and Caesar decided to go to El Salvador. And I don't know if they knew it or not, but there was a revolution going on. And that didn't stop Sam. It didn't stop him. Ruth was a little worried, but Sam didn't, want to stop. So they were driving, and they'd come to roadblocks, and the road would run out. Didn't matter. Ruth wanted to turn back, but Sam said, we're going to go no matter what. So they went, and they impressed the revolutionaries. Are very impressed by this. So this is an award. The organization is it's the Cocheros de la Selva, which is the drivers of the jungle. Partido Comunista. And they awarded Sam 1984 Cochero del Año. He's the driver of the year.
Not funny?
Now the last award that I have, this is a recent one, 1992. It's very current. So Lisa has something that goes along with this. This is the last award. It's the Felix Frankfurter Award. And I have to explain what this is about. Sam has done a lot of what they call pro se legal work. In other words, he defends himself when he has and some of these have been connection with traffic activities. And recently he was up in the court in New Paltz, New York, where he successfully was able to get rid of the ticket. So this is the Felix. This is the Felix Frankfurter Award for 1992. It's for Samuel D. Freeman, pro se par excellence. To the citizen who successfully reversed the most traffic citations in the 20th century. Lisa has an award. You know, this is closer than Felix Frankfurter was part of this award.
Open it
I don't know if you know, but after Sam had a certain number of violations, he had to take a course. But after he took a course, he became a teacher.
That's my position here myself, right?
Safe driving.
Win in traffic. This is how to win in traffic court. The non-lawyer's guide to successfully defending traffic violations.
You could have written that yourself. Funny. Very
Mike, I think I should add a postscript.
Commentary.
A commentary about loopholes. There's a lot in what was just said that is true. In preparation, I was stopped for speeding. I think they indicated that I had gone, 82 miles? So and they had indicated that this was recorded on by
that radar.
radar. They were on a radar, so I read up on radar.
A quick course.
Of course, I consulted with engineers and all that.
Of course.
And I brought with me, and I've engaged an attorney, and I brought with me all sorts of equipment. All sorts of chips and whatnot and so on. And I was prepared to explain that radar depends on these integrated circuits and how delicate they are and how these things can go wrong and the various conditions and so on that would create a situation where they would not be accurate. And I had all this all down, and I had quotations from the texts and so on. So I come there with my attorney, and he said, look, let me talk to the judge. So he went back, he spoke to the judge, came out, and he said, look, the judge agrees that we will charge you with something that has no fine attached to it, no points and so on. It'll be a nominal, there'll be just a nominal fine, and it won't be recorded. I said, okay, that's fine. So come up for the judge, he says, all right, $50, so and so. I'm about to turn to leave. I said to the judge, you know, I'm a little disappointed. He says, why? I said, do you realize all the preparation that I went through? I took out all this equipment, and I showed it to him. I said, I was getting ready to show you all these different things. So he smiled, and I walked out. And that was the end of that particular case. But I was really disappointed.
Of course, and next time.
Well, next time.
Next time.
One more time, Sam, I'll be on the road.
One more time. Next time, right? Don't throw any of it away.
So,
Any other volunteers?
Well, if anybody looks at me,
I'll do this one from radio.
We're all
I'll tell you
looking
a
at you.
little
We're
story.
all looking at
I'm looking
you.
at you.
And the name of the story is How I Got Sam into First Class and Away from the Screaming Baby.
All right.
Okay? You know, we've been to Mexico 6 times. This was our 6th trip. Came back about 2 weeks ago. the trip was very difficult. He wrote, I'm not going to go into a lot of things we went through the last 60 years or 58 years. But this one is a beauty, I thought. I was exhausted. The trip was so difficult. When we got to Dallas after our flight from Mexico City, I really did not feel well, but I didn't say anything at all. We got to the next gate to take the plane in Dallas for New York, and I really felt sick. But still, I wouldn't say anything. We got on the plane, we settled into our seats, and I said, I think I need oxygen. The trip was really difficult. But they wouldn't give it to me. The stewardess came over and she said, in the meantime, right behind Sam, there was a young woman with a screaming baby. And we both discussed the possibility of
Trashing the
I always feel that young mothers with young children,
This is airplane.
back at the plane, they should tolerate each other. Because on a long flight, it could be a disaster. This was a short flight. I said, don't worry, we had children and all that stuff. We'll tolerate it. But he really was annoyed.
I would take it and throw it out.
At that point, well, the stewardess comes over and she says to me, what's wrong with your wife? Now, I never get seasick or plane sick or car sick. I'm not that kind of person. I never got air sick in my life, and we've flown so much. But this time I felt something was terribly wrong. And the stewardess comes over and she says, look, she said, I'll go speak to the captain. Maybe you shouldn't go on the plane. They don't want to have any trouble mid-flight. I said, no, I want to go home. I'm all right. They take me to the bathroom. Nothing happens. I said, I'm all right. I sit down. I said, gee, something is not right. She comes over. She looks at me. And she says, we decided to put you in first class, right near the captain. The first class. She says, we want to keep an eye on you. And of course, he has to come with me. That's how I go. We sit down. Out it comes like Niagara Falls. He tells me that the stewardesses were astonished. They had their mouths open. What happened to me? Everything came out. I said it was the breakfast I had on the other flight, whatever it was. In the first class is almost like a Concorde. The service is really good. All of a sudden, you're not a passenger, you're Mr. Freeman, and I'm Mrs. Freeman. You're not a number, you're not a passenger. Everything changes. The service was beautiful. They started to, after they took off and they made altitude, they served lunch. And it was just beautiful. I've never seen anything like it except in the Concorde. And he sits down, he's enjoying himself. I get a little bit of ginger ale. She says to me, you're not going to eat it? I says, oh no. I says, don't even mention food. And he sits down, he eats course number 1. They changed the tablecloth. For the dessert, another tablecloth. They bring out a beautiful dessert. And he's eating it and I'm watching it. He's enjoying it, And then he bends down and he says to me, next time we go first class. Next time we go first class.
The rest of your family across the water. This is from,
I received the card from your father.
yes, so this is just an extra.
Oh, what is that, Patricia?
That's a fax birthday card from
We got
there's my brother.
our family.
No, this is not
Well, it just says happy birthday with best wishes. And it says from Sydney, Wendy, Sheila, Jerry, Patricia, Ann, John, and Sarah. Pete, Tula, James, Harvey, Henry, many happy returns from, I can't make that out.
Peter and Dana from.
Oh, I see. Well, okay, that's fine.
This is from your number 1 granddaughter. And I will,
Patricia's family in England.
this, you can keep it.
Okay.
It says Ponga anecdote. By his granddaughter Rachel Freeman on the 6th of January 1992, written in Edinburgh, Scotland for Sam Freeman's 80th birthday. At the risk of repeating the obvious, Sam Freeman is special, and even I, at the tender age of 2, immediately sensed his unique qualities and chose to dub him with his special name of Ponga. In brackets, my perceptive abilities at that age were evidently keen, but my enunciation skills were clearly lacking. This quirky nomnica, I'm sorry, I don't know that word, has since stuck, and the only thing that's changed is my ability to fully admire, respect, and fathom Ponga and his feats. I say feats not just because Ponga does fun and zany things, but because feats denotes activity, and to me, action, innovation, and Ponga are synonymous. If I was stuck on a deserted island, filled with lots of trees, I'd probably try the conventional method of sending smoke signals or floating a note in a bottle. But Ponga, in the same situation, had a few saws and effects and not only would he build a boat with a few handy ingenious devices added to it, but he'd also be able to arrange full media coverage and offer to go back for a seminar to teach others how to cope in a similar situation. Ponga is outgoing and has a wonderful attitude to life. He has a wealth of ideas and advice, and I feel lucky and proud to have him as my grandfather. He deserves every minute of the tribute. I wish I could be there. Happy birthday, Ponga.
Black family, feet, get me out of here.
It's handwriting.
Who typed it? Oh, I did. It's good you did. That's right. Very good.
I've composed 3 limericks, or actually, that is Joan and I have composed 3 limericks.
We have to read and write something, you know that?
So, and I thought I would remember them, but I think I forgot them, so I haven't.
Can you talk a little louder, Eugene, please?
Okay, sure. There was a fine fellow named Caesar. His children were Jay and Elisa. To tell the truth, his wife was Ruth, and they traveled from here to Pisa. There was a good man named Caesar. He plucked his beard with a tweezer. He didn't cry ouch, because he's no grouch. To one and all, a crowd pleaser. And this is the best. There was a young geezer named Caesar. See, I didn't say old geezer. Right. Who detested the life of leisure. His notion of motion was crossing the ocean for the sake of adventure and pleasure.
The third one was a gem.
That's great.
Very good. I have a clever nephew.
Yeah. There was a young buck from Kentucky.
Well, I thought of those, but I was...
That's a very tough one to continue to rhyme.
That's right. Stop there.
Any others? Any other little... You got a little card?
By all means.
Come on, Amy. Come on, Amy.
In the spirit of the limerick. Okay. His granddaughter could think not of present nor poem. She searched in answer in tome after tome. Hark, the answer was hurled by the spin of the world, so like him she also did roam. She took off to live like a free man. The path he had blazed was still steamin'. For her she'd been told he'd been so bold to leave manna in his path before leaving. Oh yes.
Please. Thank you, Tom.
Oh, that, here are the awards.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Excellent. Excellent thing.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Dad, here are the letters also.
Good.
Those are real letters.
Good. It goes
Yeah, right. Boy, what
We can make frames now.
right.
a lot of work to do now.
Right.
That's true.
All right, we're-
And while everybody's seated,
Yeah, what we're trying to do is rearrange the agenda.
You know, I
And-
realize bar
and,
mitzvah.
Yes.
Excuse me, I realize bar mitzvah. The tension you could cut with a knife. He was up there and I was doing everything, wait. I was doing everything I could not to laugh while he's up there getting ready to say his Haftorah. And Caesar walked in a few minutes late with a beret. I'm gonna tell you something. To this day, I still laugh about it. Because I laughed uncontrollably. Here, for 15 minutes, I couldn't laugh because Eli was up there. And then he just went with the beret and a scarf.
Are you sure it wasn't a yarmulke?
now look what happens to Eli, right?
While everybody's sitting around here, what we might do is,
I have one other, which is, it has a poem in it, or something in it, that might go along if all the family is finished. But anyway, here's something we think.
Thank you. Thank you. Shall I open it?
Sure. Inside is an envelope. I think you'll want this.
Has everybody met Connie?
Yes.
Bob?
Terrific. Pleasure.
well, actually, what I was going to suggest is